look frightening. Um, we had a camp out last night. I never got to give any updates on how we did in the last camp out. It was pretty good. And we made it through three in a row. And when I say 3 in a row, I mean one night on, one night in the regular bed, one night in the futon or living room, and one night. Okay, the three campouts anyway. So that would be. And when I just woke up for one, which means it's actually pretty late for us. Normally, when I have my personal care attendants, I'm usually up around 7. Ideally, I'd like to get up at 8, but because I have one of my care attendants, her husband has a job doing other things at a different time, so she has to be back in time because she has little children. So I get up extra early then, and because we're short staffed right now, we're definitely looking for some new people who want to work, and then maybe I could get up a bit later. But on camp out mornings, camp out nights, that means that Craig and I can go to bed whenever we want to. But the risk of that is it means that I can't usually get to sleep till maybe 3 o'clock in the morning, which, don't get me wrong, when he and I are in bed and he's helping me get comfortable, some nights can be pretty rough. So, and we're husbands and wives, so sometimes we might end up fighting or something. We're getting frustrated. So sometimes there's been nights we actually haven't slept more than maybe half an hour. Or I've had a couple nights where I don't sleep at all because sometimes just getting comfortable can be a big issue. So, so on a camp out night when we're free and clear, and I don't have to bother Craig to help get me comfortable, because that's a big thing. Like, without him, I wouldn't be comfortable. Like, I wouldn't be able to sleep. And a cumulative lack of sleep, they say it can cause premature aging, death, because apparently, go figure, we need sleep. God's amazing design, he made us to need sleep. And I wanted to come out to show you what a beautiful day that is. It is so beautiful out here. It is like September 7th, 12th, 13th, I think. And look at these are the last of the sunflower seeds. Sunflowers, they are the kind that could have went to the 16 feet, but didn't. And the zinnias, we've fallen in love with zinnias. They grow, they stay, they stick around. They stay in bloom for quite a long time. We even had some cut ones that we put in a glass or a container with water, and it took like 3 weeks for it to finally show signs of dying. And here's the other. We removed all the sunflowers except for the 2 baby ones in the back there. But these are zinnias. I think they're called carnival zinnias. I'm going to have to look it up because I got them on at Bessie's Seeds in Canada, and I'm very impressed. Now I'm just trying to figure out how to harvest the seeds from these, and so far I haven't been too successful. But I did harvest a pile of sunflower seeds from one of the Vincent van Gogh sunflowers that we had. So, and I've never done that before, so I'm really hoping that it's going to work. So let me know if anybody knows when you're supposed to harvest sunflower seeds, because they were, sorry, my voice is really low because when I sleep in my chair, I sleep on my back, which I'm not used to sleeping, and which I also have pretty bad sleep apnea on my back. But I have to say, last night was not too bad, but my mouth is usually hanging open. My mouth is usually hanging open at the best of times. But, yeah, so here's still one little teeny weeny baby zucchini. We're not sure what to call it, because ones that we do have a little lump at the bottom. So we're figuring it's in this, I know it's in the squash family, but I don't know what it is. So I just thought I want to come out and give you a nice evening morning. It's beautiful. And, and for anybody who's interested in the creative portion of my vlogs and tutorials, there is last year's decorated garbage can and the table I started to decorate. And over the sign, I just want you to know that be careful if you're using paints on outdoor projects, because this one held up pretty good. So far, the color fastness has been pretty good. Color fastness means can paint or pigment or even fabric, whatever is going to be exposed to the sun, can it handle the sun's rays? Because UV rays can cause a lot of damage, and and make things look worn out a lot quicker and faded. So I wouldn't recommend using some of these paint pens. In that one I used the Artistro, the Aeroic. I like them all. They were great pens. But maybe that's where Posca and I never really got along. But maybe that's the difference with Posca, because I did hear that people use Posca pens for wall murals and things like that. Like there's a great channel called, bump on our deck. That they use our, I think I want to show you the sunflowers before they die, because they are beautiful. And once they die, they die. That's the sad part about flowers, is they die. But, as the Bible talks about, unless something dies, and like a seed falls to the ground, unless a plant or whatever dies first, it can't grow new life, because then it has to drop the seed, and then the seed goes in the ground, and then and you get new life. So here are these. These are the ones that could have grown. Traffic. Trying to get at them. Trying to get at the sunflower better. Over here. Yeah, see? Isn't it nice? I don't know. These ones did look a little sadder to me, just because of the droopy, longer petals. But they're still beautiful. So, and it's weird, because over there, I don't know if you can see it, but there's one plant that looks like it's trying to grow a second bud. So, it's pretty neat. But these just bring so much cheer and smiling. Oh yeah, and you might notice something. We are missing our big, ginormous vehicle that's normally parked here, because Craig was out shopping on Friday, and thankfully he noticed a funny smell, and when he got to our local grocery store, he was blessed. I'm just going down a hill right now, so I'm trying to be careful. He was blessed by actually bumping into somebody in the parking lot who, guess what, just happened to be a retired mechanic. So that retired mechanic looked under Craig's hood, and they concluded that there was something to do with the the radiator hose. So and then again from the Metro, a wonderful manager went and got water for Craig. Craig went in there and said, I need water in a bucket. So the guy found him water in a bucket, and he went actually outside to help him, and he actually poured the water into the radiator. Sorry, there's lots of outdoor equipment, people out and about working. I cannot believe how nice it is out here. It's probably about 20 degrees. It's really beautiful. Fall is in the air. So anyway, here are the other sunflower seeds. Sorry, sunflowers. I can't get to them. Down there are some baby ones that I planted later. Whether they turn into anything, I don't know. But just look at these majestic beauties. And you know what I love about sunflowers is they attract bees like crazy. And I love attracting bees. Bees are so beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. Yeah. So these are our two majestic sunflowers. And these are all from the same breed. I can't remember what they are, but they have the potential of growing to 6 feet, 16 feet, I mean. So it's just so beautiful. The only thing about this time of year, though, I find is it makes me sad because I don't really like seeing summer come to an end. Because this year I tried a little harder than I normally would to actually get my backside out here and enjoy the weather and just soak up the rays and the heat until my skin couldn't take it anymore. Okay, I want to show you something. We have a neighbor, and see that tree right there? And to see the strip of cedar that's been trimmed up the side? Well, picture it. Craig's vehicle parks right there. And even though Craig doesn't use the passenger door because he has to use a wheelchair lift and everything, we love our neighbors. God tells us to love our neighbors and to pray for those who persecute you and all of that. But unfortunately, our neighbor, we sent her notes asking her to take care of our trees because unfortunately her cedar trees crossed over into our property line and Craig couldn't open his passenger door, and you need to have that freedom to open your passenger door. Yeah, so I as a neighbor owning a house, I have to say one of the biggest frustrations has been, and a friend warned me, my dear friend Jan, who has since gone to heaven over 10 years ago now, warned me. She said when we were building our house through Habitat for Humanity and friends and volunteers built our house, which didn't mean we get our house for free. It means that we didn't have to pay interest. So we didn't have to pay interest on our house. We had to do volunteer hours as our down payment, and it's just a way to give people who have a lesser income to get. Just trying to look at these flowers here, to give them a way to have a house where they normally couldn't afford the interest and mortgage payments and stuff. So we had to pay. Don't get me wrong, we had to pay mortgage payments, and finally, actually, our house will be paid off, I think, in about 2 years, which is amazing to me because we've been here since 2003. Yeah, 2003. And here we are. Wow, 2021. So our house is going to be paid off soon. But my friend told me, dear friend Jan, she had told me that make sure that when you move into a home that you set your boundaries, literally your boundaries, because if you don't, you're going to run into problems later with boundary establishment. And she knew from her own experience of owning a home that it's really important to just set your boundaries right from the get-go. So I remember trying that, but we didn't succeed very well because we even had a flower box that another neighbor was getting put down on, straddling our property lines, and I came home during the build. I would come over early in the morning to watch them build and help where I could, and I saw that, and I called Craig, and I'm like, get over here, Craig. You need to deal with this boundary line. You need to stop this box from going up, because I talked to one of the key builders, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, we're building a box that you guys agreed on. And I'm like, no, we never agreed with a box, because not only it doesn't go well, but the box straddles our property line to the point that it actually takes up. Here, I'll show you. See, our ramp goes down here, and there's a sidewalk, and that fence right there, that belongs to us. So anything that is on the left side of the fence, that's like the edge of our property line, all the way straight down. and unfortunately, it's actually impeded our ability to turn around. It did have to even get cut back so that we could get down the ramp and to be able to turn because we were like stuck. But my dear husband is too nice, and he didn't have the heart to say stop building that because it's too bad because we just knew it was going to be a problem because it affects you want when you want accessible property, you want to have nice open areas that you can move your wheelchair and turn around and stuff. But my too kind husband didn't have the heart to say, please tear it down. And ever since, it's been an ongoing issue because things are, and I get that some people are into growing a lot of things, but unfortunately, it's just too much because, um, yeah, we can't get by there. I don't, I don't weed it. I don't plant things in it. My mom, though, to be kind, she showed up with some ferns that she had picked from the bush because my mom and dad are good at collecting wildflowers from the bush, including some really pretty ferns. And so she stuck them in the box. And I'm like, well, what are you doing? You're supporting this thing that shouldn't have happened because now we're stuck with this box equally straddling our property line. So hopefully, we plan on staying here, Lord willing, until God takes us home. But until then, I don't know. You just want it to go well for the next owner and to not have to battle anything like property lines. But there's something I want to show you right here. Do you see that fern growing in a hunk of cement? I think that is the coolest thing. Craig pointed that out to me, and I think it could be a metaphor for so many things, like bloom where you're planted or something. But that's one of the seedlings, I'm guessing, from the fern that my mom planted. So I just think it's really cool. Oh, and I have a bee flying around my head. I don't know what he's after, but remember, if a bee flies around you, don't freak. Just stay calm, and you'll be okay. I've never been stung by a bee if I stay calm. It's it's the times when I was a little kid at my grandma's where something was tickling my neck, and I thought it was just a fly. So I went like this, and I scrunched it, and whammo, I got stung in the neck by a wasp. So yeah. So anyway, here we are. Survived another night after a camp out. It was a pretty good sleep. Did well. Um, if you know anybody who's looking for a job in Thunder Bay and is teachable, kind, trustworthy, just please. I do have the job bank on the Ontario, the Canada job bank. The ads posted there, and the ads also posted in Kijiji and on the university and college, the local university and college job banks as well. So definitely looking to hire. It doesn't mean I'll never camp out again if I have enough employees. In fact, there's been times I've had enough employees, and because I like the freedom so much of going to bed when we want, getting up when we want, the ability to come outside last night and to see some stars and just go for a little walk if I want to. I like that. I think it's awesome. But I kind of only wouldn't want to do it more than every second week. So right now, we're going to be averaging about every 2 or 3 days. Last week it was every day. Like we'd sleep on in the bed one night, do the camp out one night, sleep on the bed, camp out, sleep on the bed, camp out. So that was our record. And this week we're going to do another one that's close together too. So, and I just know it's a challenge for my poor husband because I know he's helping me out a lot. And that's the thing, if you live with a